as you probably heard, Joe Biden announced that he was running for president in 2024. It was kind of something that people were expecting, but he's going to be like 80 years old when he runs. Oldest, and not only is he currently the oldest sitting president, he'll be the oldest person to run for president, I believe. I'm almost positive on that, in this upcoming election cycle. And I haven't even watched the ad yet. It dropped. This was super weird to me. It dropped at like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., something like that.
It was early.
It was. And so I woke up and it was like pushed down into other notifications. It wasn't until like 2:00 in the afternoon yesterday. I was like, oh, crap. Biden announced this morning. It was like sandwiched with so many other things. It almost seemed like they didn't even want people to know that it happened. It was super weird, but I have the ad pulled up. And so I just want to have you seen it yet? His announcement ad?
Okay, I watched as much as I could possibly stomach it.
So I'm going to pull it up. I haven't seen it yet. So for me, it's a blind reaction. Donzo has seen it. So let's take a look at this ad, and I'll go like minute by minute. When I find a stopping point in each minute, I'll see we'll see what we want to say about it. So let's go.
Freedom, personal freedom, is fundamental to who we are as Americans. There's nothing more important, nothing more sacred. That's been the work of my first term, to fight for our democracy. This shouldn't be a red or blue issue. To protect our rights, to make sure that everyone in this country is treated equally and that everyone is given a fair shot at making it. But around the country, MAGA extremists are lining up to take on those bedrock freedoms, cutting Social Security that you paid for your entire life up.
Okay, so here I'm going to stop right there just because it's really interesting so far. I might look at some of these other things, but the one thing I'm noticing so far is that this ad, I got to give it to him. This ad is actually really well produced. That's the first thing. I got to give it to him because and the GOP has to flip and step up. Everybody, if we want to win this next election, we got to get with the times. That ad is very well produced so far. It's real. And the other thing too that I've noticed is that it hits on something that I knew would be a focal point of this upcoming election, January 6th.
Yeah.
And that's what it's getting into a little bit right there. But that's why I've been, and I know there's a lot of my viewers and my listeners on the radio, are people that are more open to Trump 2024. If he is the candidate, if he is the primary winner, I'm all for him. I will be all in on him. But the reason why I've been super skeptical of it is because what I know will happen is exactly what Biden's doing already. It's going to be repeat footage of January 6th. And
I'm sorry.
You go. No, you go.
Okay, so there's a reason that Biden is putting all this MAGA Republicans and January 6th stuff in there, because he is banking that Donald Trump is going to be the nominee for the Republican Party. Look, I'm kind of going in the same direction as you. I would love to see Donald Trump get 4 more years. He deserves 4 more years. And this isn't, a good conservative friend of mine called me up. She said, I don't need your black pills. But I told her, I'm not sure Donald Trump can actually win the election. Look, I'll vote for Donald Trump. I'll support Donald Trump if he's a candidate. I'm not going to say who I'm supporting yet, but I'm going to tell you this. We need the absolute best candidate we can get to get as many independent voters on our side. The only way we're going to beat these people is in massive numbers of votes. That's it. We have to get everybody we can, whether it's DeSantis, whether it's Trump, because let's face it, those are the 2 front runners. We got to do something. We cannot let this one go. We can't.
Absolutely. And that's why when it comes, whether or not whatever you believe when it comes to what happened on January 6th, when it comes to a moderate or somebody who is not politically inclined, this is a message or this is just an insight to people that aren't watching this video right now.
Right.
The people that are not watching this video right now, the people that don't really care about politics very often, but they will vote in a presidential election, they're going to see this 3-minute ad, or at least cuts of it, on the WGN News at 9 or whatever nightly news you watch. And your more local news, they're going to play clips of this ad, and it's going to include stuff about January 6th. And that's what they're going to see. They're going to see continuous ads that just run about January 6th. And the moderate who isn't politically inclined, doesn't do their research, doesn't look into things, doesn't formulate their own opinion, it doesn't look good. That's the thing, is the pictures and the videos that they show that they cherry pick from that day do not look good. And that's where their perception comes from.
Well, that's their strength, Kev. Okay. The left strength is they can put together a video like that, and it makes us MAGA Republicans look like we're domestic terrorists. And you hit the nail on the head. The independents see that. And what are we doing? We're over here playing softball with these idiots.
I know. Where were the massively put out ads? And I guarantee you there probably were some, but in 2020, I don't remember seeing ads plastered everywhere of the BLM riots.
No, there wasn't. Everybody kept hands off that because they didn't want to PO anybody, pee anybody off.
Like, why weren't we reminding people that there were billions of dollars in city destruction in the summer of 2020? Why were we not reminding people of that?
Yeah, well, look, a lot of people in the GOP right now don't have any guts. They're looking out for themselves. Look at how many of these so-called conservatives are siding with Biden with the war in Ukraine. They don't have any guts. They don't want to touch BLM. They pussyfoot around it just like they do anything else. God forbid they scare anybody or make anybody angry with them or have any rival news agency come after them or have anybody boycott them or try to get their spot or their donors taken away from them. They're gutless. I'm kind of ashamed of a lot of them, to be honest with you, Kev.
No, absolutely. It really is. And that's why I just have issues with the Republican Party in general, is they're not willing to go in for the kill. And I mean that metaphorically, before any liberal comes after me and says, Kevin Phares tries to say go in for the kill, you should kill people. No, I do not think you should actually kill anybody. But that's what Biden is doing. Well, not really Biden. We know it's not actually in control of any of this. But that's what the DMs, what his handlers are doing here, is they're going in. They're saying, like, let's go back and watch a little bit more of what they're saying here. And we're going to break down some, because now he's getting into some of the issues. So he outlines that freedom is so important, that I love individual freedom, even though you think everybody should be forced to get the COVID vax, all that kind of crap. Freedom's so great, blah, 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 blah. Now let's go into what he says next.
But around the country, MAGA extremists are lining up to take on those bedrock freedoms, cutting Social Security that you paid for your entire life while cutting taxes for the very wealthy, dictating what healthcare decisions women can make, banning books, and telling people who they can love, all while making it more difficult for you to be able to vote.
Look at how bad all those Republicans are. Let's click through some of these. So he starts off with the Social Security one, and this is an interesting one. The thing about the Social Security one is that it seems to be an issue that the Republicans started in terms of, well, actually Biden kind of started it, but then the Republicans carried it, because if you remember during Biden's State of the Union, he tried to claim that Republicans were trying to cut Social Security. Then the majority of Republicans in the room at the State of the Union stood up and said, no, that's not true. And said, we were fine with Social Security, whatever. We just want to make some reforms so that we can actually make sure that it keeps working.
And pay it into it, get it back.
Exactly. And so nobody is trying to claim, from what I understand, is trying to claim that Social Security is trying to be cut. Jim even said, who is talking about it. The other thing too, though, is that it's been perpetuated by Republican candidates. Well, not Republican candidates, by super PACs supporting Republican candidates. I did another video earlier, like 2 weeks ago, a week ago, something like that, that compared a pro-Trump PAC ad and a pro-DeSantis PAC ad. And one showed that, or both of them talked about Social Security. The pro-Trump one said that DeSantis wanted to cut Social Security, and the pro-DeSantis one said that Trump wanted to cut Social Security. Here's our problem, is that we're letting Democrats define our issues. That's what's happening here. That's what happened with the Social Security one. The reason why it's being brought up is because Biden brought it up at the State of the Union. We have candidates that are still talking about it because we're letting the Democrats define what the issues are on the table.
I agree. We're letting them call the shots. I agree 100%. Same thing with the ballot harvesting and the mail-in voting, and Hannity and even Tucker Carlson had gotten on that boat before about, hey, we got to catch up with them and play the same tricks that they're playing.
Absolutely. And so that's the first one, is the Social Security cut. Then they get into abortion. Obviously, this one's going to be a big one. This is always a big issue in elections, and it's especially an issue now because Democrats are obviously fighting for some kind of federal law regarding abortion. That's what. So it's a social issue that they're going to stick with. Yeah, bans off our bodies outside. They're evoking the Supreme Court because the conservative court pushed for Roe v. Wade to be, actually decided to overturn Roe v. Wade. But then they claim this banning books one. I've actually read, okay, I don't know a single conservative that claims that we should be banning To Kill a Mockingbird, first off. I don't know. I've read The Invisible Man. I think it's kind of critical race theory-ish, but like, I don't really know. I've never heard, I haven't heard, and maybe I haven't heard any conservatives say that we need to ban books regarding most things with race. Maybe at certain levels, maybe.
Well, not
What
even
have you heard?
certain levels. Certain age groups don't need to be reading certain books. Okay, and that should be up to the schools. That should be up to the parents. All right. But as adults, we can read anything we want to read. No conservative is saying we need to burn this book or ban it. I haven't heard one say maybe restrict it in schools, certain books. I get it for whatever reason. Now, some conservatives do go off the deep end with this, though, Kev. And they do get on that bandwagon, but they're few and far between. If anybody's banning anything, the left is banning the stuff they don't want to hear, they don't want to read, and they don't want to see.
Exactly. We just talked about within the last half hour, AOC saying that we need to be banning people that we don't like from news networks and stuff.
This book thing has zero basis in reality. This is pretty much just make them up stuff to get independents to go, oh no, the conservatives are really bad. Oh God. That's all this is. Lies.
And then they move on. Well, then Biden moves on to talk about how we're trying to make voting harder. No, we're trying to make sure that people vote only once, and that only legal American citizens vote in elections.
Can I make a point about that? And I agree with you. Can I make a quick point?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I heard a liberal pundit, paraphrasing here, said, there's some people that just can't afford to get a state-issued ID. Well, first of all, take Illinois. You can apply and get one for free, okay? Let me tell you something. I'm just going to be blunt about this. If you cannot save enough money by putting the drugs down or the cigarettes down or the beer down, if you cannot save $10 to go get a state-issued ID, if you can't pull that off, maybe I don't want you voting anyway. Okay? Maybe I don't think you're qualified to go out and cast a vote.
Let's get into what else Biden had to say in his announcement ad here.
I'm making it more difficult for you to be able to vote.
Now it's him. He's the savior. Look at him. He's so perfect. Kamala too. Aww.
When I ran for president 4 years ago, I said we're in a battle for the soul of America, and we still are. The question we're facing is whether in the years ahead we have more freedom or less freedom, more rights or fewer. I know what I want the answer to.
Great question. Let's listen to that one more time. Donzo, I want you to answer this question that he's asking.
More freedom or less freedom. Years ahead, we have more freedom or less freedom, more rights or fewer. I know what I want the answer to be, and I think you do too.
So let's ask that question as if it was asked from before. In the last 4 years, or at least since Biden took office, do you believe we have more freedoms or less freedoms?
If anybody tells you we have less freedoms, they're brain dead. Or more freedoms, they're brain dead. We have, I can't even wrap my mind around what we can't do anymore. And I don't mean like necessarily a law has been put in place, but our freedom of speech especially has been suppressed. Our Second Amendment has been suppressed. Everything has been suppressed. I can't believe that was one of the things that got me about that we have more freedoms than we had 4 years ago. He's out of his mind.
Out of his mind. Absolutely. Well, here's the other thing too, is let's try to pretend, let's say has stayed away from guns. He stayed away from free speech. Let's say he hadn't done anything with that. You want to know how your freedom has been restricted, a tangible way in which your freedom was restricted? Your taxes are higher. Your cost of living is higher. Do you think you are freer when you have less money because you have to spend more on a carton of eggs, on a gallon of milk, on your rent, on electricity? When your possibility of having a gas stove is threatened by environmental wokeism? Absolutely.
And that was a point, I made it kind of with the gas, but that's absolutely getting right into that. I was just reading Nestle, I can't remember, it's not Nestle Bite, but whatever the Nestle company is. They have a 10% inflation rate right now. They're up.
I saw that.
But they were.
Just about all their products average about 10% higher now. I saw that.
87,000 IRS agents and all the guns and ammunition to arm them. They're absolutely not. Do we have more freedoms? We have significantly less freedoms than we had 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's keep going with this ad. See what else he has to say.
This is not a time to be complacent. That's why I'm running for re-election.
There's the announcement, everybody. Oh
'Cause
my
I know
God.
America. I know we're good and decent people. I know we're still a country that believes in honesty and respect and treating each other with dignity. That we're a nation.
What do you have to say about? So we're good people. What do you have to say about Biden claiming that we're good people?
Well, okay. Well, first of all, he's lying because he's not a good person himself. And treating people with dignity was the biggest lie I've ever seen. That guy asked him about his Hunter's overseas business dealings, and he threatened. He called him fat something. I can't fat body or something. Tried to push-ups. Calls everybody Jack. I mean, this guy's got no dignity. He's lying. I wonder how many. I really would like to know how much production time they had to get him to utter those words. Like, how many takes did they need? How much Adderall did they need to pump him up with? This guy doesn't believe a word he's saying. And the worst thing is he knows it, and he knows he's lying to everybody about it.
Absolutely. And I want to show, so he just claimed in there that he knows Americans are good people. Well, I want to show this clip because I think that this is an important one to show when he thinks that when he claims that he thinks Americans are good people. Let's take a look.
Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. Now, I want to be very clear up front. Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
We're a threat. MAGA Republicans, which he claims are not in the majority, but polling would suggest differently, are a threat to this country. Now, let's go back one more time. I'll let you speak, but I want to just go back one more time to what Biden had to say.
I know we're good and decent people.
Good and
I
decent.
know we're still a country that believes in honesty and respect and treating each other with dignity.
There you go. Yeah, dignity. So much dignity. Keep going. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, that's fine. A point I wanted to make was he talked about the vast number of MAGA extremists. And it says that the majority of the GOP are not MAGA extremists. So he's talking not about congressmen. He's talking about the citizens. And yes, I'm going to tell you, you'll agree with this. The majority of the Republican citizens are what he would call extremists, which is low taxes, Second Amendment rights, not getting us in wars, policing other countries, especially that aren't NATO. Yep. I mean, we could talk about, closing the border. We're extremists now because we don't want to allow our border to be open and allow fentanyl to come in from China. We're extremists because we know he's been bought and we're calling him out on it, and he's owned by a foreign adversary. If that makes you extremist, Kevin, I'm an extremist, bud.
No, and that's what I say all the time is I'm your good friendly neighborhood extremist, because that's how he describes it. And if you look at the polling right now, here's the thing is I guarantee you, even those that are not necessarily in favor of Trump 2024, which I've voiced my personal objections to Trump 2024, I'm still in favor of the Make America Great Again message on the policies that made up the Trump administration. I'm still 100% in favor of that. I'm still consider myself a MAGA Republican and a MAGA American. And there are plenty of others out there like us, Aldonzo. Everybody that's in here, we are all extremists. We're all extremists. And yet he claims that he believes that most Americans have that he wants to treat them with dignity and that they're all good people. But he obviously doesn't believe that they're all good people. Let's keep going with more of this ad.
That we're a nation where we give hate no safe harbor. We believe that everyone is equal, that everyone should be given a fair shot to succeed in this country.
Everyone is equal, but you want to have like affirmative action and make policies that benefit people based on their race?
That's exactly what he wants to do. He's lying. He just lies and lies and lies, and whatever script they put out in front of him is what he reads.
Mm-hmm.
it's absolutely. I don't even know what to say.
Let's keep going. I'll keep going with the ad.
For choosing us.
Ketanji Brown Jackson puts her on the Supreme Court. Yeah.
Every generation of Americans has faced a moment when they have to defend democracy. Stand up for our personal freedom. Stand up for the right to vote and our civil rights. And this is our moment.
We, the people, will not decide.
So if you're with me, go to joebiden.com and sign up.
So
It would have been funny if you said text Joe to 30330. That would have been funny.
that would have been really funny. I want to show, because here's the thing is, so Joe Biden in that ad, like I said earlier, this is an amazing ad. I'll be honest. This ad is absolutely amazing in terms of production quality. But you want to know what else is amazing about this ad? I'm going to share another video of President Biden, and I'm going to explain to you how, when you look at this video and compare it to that ad, how that ad is amazing. And so let's watch this right here. Watch. He's getting up. Oh, and he trips and falls a little bit and runs up there. And he turns around and he goes into the plane, but we can watch right here again. He trips up the stairs. He literally trips up the stairs. And as you can see, based on the caption of this, this is not the first time he's done it a lot of times. So you look at that ad that I played, and like, let's just, to reiterate one more time, let's watch the end of this ad. Like,
We, the people, will not decide.
like they have him running around. They have him taking pictures with all these people, hugging people in a church across the country.
Go to joebiden.com and sign up.
Have him smiling. They have an 80-year-old man.
Finish this job. I know we can. Because this is the United States of America. There's nothing, simply nothing we cannot do if we do it together.
Let's finish the job. That's what it ends with. So here's the thing, is that the reason why this ad is amazing is the production quality. And the production quality is so good that it makes a man who literally falls up the stairs multiple times look energetic and ready to serve until he's 84 years of age.
Now, Kevin, I got to jump in there, bro. I have fallen up the stairs multiple times too. All right, but usually as a result of a half a bottle of Johnny Walker Black Label and about 12 or 15 beers. So if I can put myself in that situation of how I fell up the stairs, I can only imagine what that dude's going through. But no, I agree. They did make him look good.